This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas. The information contained in this podcast is intended for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for individual professional legal advice. The podcast information was carefully compiled from vetted sources and references. However, Rose Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly cannot guarantee that you will not fall victim to a scam. Let's talk about scams. It's the must-listen show for anyone who wants to protect themselves and their loved ones from scams. Every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio, Joyce Petrowski, founder of Rose, and her guests will provide valuable insights and practical tips on how to recognize and protect yourself from scams. And now, here is your host, Joyce Petrowski.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Let's Talk About Scams. I'm Joyce Petrowski, founder of Rose Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly, a 501c3 nonprofit. You can find more resources on our website at roseadvocacy.org. You'll find our social media links on the homepage. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the homepage, you'll find where you can sign up for our emailed newsletters. And we also send one out in the mail. You can sign up for one or both of them, or share it with a friend or a family member that you think could benefit from it. And we are looking for sponsors for this radio show. So if you're interested in sponsoring this show, reach out to us at info@roseadvocacy.org. And let's talk about it. A lot of great benefits for you out there helping the general community, learning how to spot and avoid falling victim to scams. So today I'm going to talk about the anatomy of a scam. This is something that we created at Rose, 2 years ago, I think. When we would go out and do our presentations, we would try to talk about probably the top 5 to 7 scams that had a tendency to target the older adult population. And when we're done with the presentation, that same day, the next day, a couple days later, there's all these new scams out there. They've either created new ones or they've taken aspects from 2 different scams or 3 different scams and put them together and come up with a whole new scam. And so we were always behind the 8 ball trying to get this information out to people to make everybody aware and educated. And so we created this anatomy of a scam to say, how could we break scams down in general and have something that really applies to the majority, if not all, of the scams that are out there? So we talked about this early on when we first started the show, and I am going to share my screen to, here we go. Let's see, to pull up our anatomy of a scam right here. So excuse me. So the first part, if you see here, this initiating contact. Well, that's the first step. So a scammer has to contact you somehow. When scams first started, before all the cell phones and all this online stuff, a lot of it, if not all of it, came in the mail. They would send you letters in the mail. They're still doing that today, not as much. It's more costly than just finding people online. And with our cell phones here, which are really, we call them mobile phones, cell phones, but when they're connected to the internet, they are really mobile computers, and you have to treat them as such, which is why you should always have your good antivirus, anti-malware software on your phone as well. Because if it's connected to the internet, it's just like a computer. And if you're going to protect your computer, your laptop, your iPad with a good antivirus, anti-malware software that is on and running 24/7, you want to protect your phone as well. So that's a big way. They'll find you online. If you're on social media, they could message you on social media. That happens a lot. Like with the romance scams, they have all these fake profiles out there on social media. And they start commenting on your post and immediately want to take it to a more secure private, messaging app. So it's more private just between the two of you. But they can also text you. They can email you. And yeah, they can call you. It happens a lot. There's a lot of phone scams. There's a lot of text scams. There's a lot of email scams out there. So that's the first part. And we're really hoping that everyone can identify the scam at this first part, the initiating contact, and then they don't engage with a scammer. Um, because once you engage, once you answer that phone, you reply to that text message, you reply to that email, you call a phone number that's on the email, that's in something you got in the mail, that's in a text message, you click on a link that's in there, that's engaging with the scammer. And it immediately goes into the second part, creating a compelling reason to act. And this is where the scammers are experts and they exploit your emotions. Now, we list 4 of them here: fear, need, isolation, greed. I don't really like the word greed, but it is what it is. They're going to get you into some sort of emotional state, and they know the more they can keep you in that emotional state, then the more apt they are to get number 3 here, which is when they request payment, a lot of times demand payment. That they're more apt to get what they want as long as you're in that emotional state. Because I think we can all think back to times where we've made a decision on something based out of emotions. And then a couple hours later, a couple days later, whenever that time frame is, you're in a rational state and you're thinking about that decision in that situation. A lot of times you'll go, oh, would not have made that same decision if I was not in an emotional state, if I was in my rational state of mind. So scammers know this, and they're going to exploit your emotions, all in an effort to get your money. And we've gone over some different ways. They like crypto. When cryptocurrency first came out, it was anonymous, and not so much anymore. With new technology and a lot more resources, law enforcement's able to figure out who those crypto wallets belong to and trace the money in the cryptocurrency. So it's not as anonymous, but they still use it because it's instant. And at gas stations and shopping malls, there's these ATM machines, and they're not ATM machines from a bank where you can go put your debit card in and get money out. They're cryptocurrency ATM machines. And yes, they might have a sign on them that says, if anybody's forcing you to put money in here, don't do it. Do you know the person that you're sending this money to? Have you met them? They might have a lot of warning signs on it, but the reality is, when someone gets to the point that they are putting money in a cryptocurrency ATM machine, they're already fully in that emotional state, and they're not even reading the warning signs, or if they look at them, they're not really deciphering what that sign says. All they're doing is putting the money in, all in a goal to, if they were scared into thinking their grandchild's in trouble, or it's a love interest and it's a way to continue this love interest, or if they think they're winning this big prize and this is a way for them to pay taxes or fees, a lot of different things. They're emotional and they're not reading those warning signs that are there. Gift cards. Yes, they still use gift cards. They don't need you to send the gift card. They just need you to uh, give them the information on the back of the gift card. So the gift card number, and then a lot of times you have to scratch off or peel off what the PIN number is. That's all they need. And then they have access to that gift card. Wire transfers, again, it's instant as to how they get the money. Sometimes with wire transfers, it says it could take a day or it could take a couple days, depending on how you set it up. But normally, they're going to get you to send it immediately. And then there's these peer-to-peer payment apps, the Venmo, Zells, PayPal, et cetera. Those are a convenience tool for you. A lot of people use them like to to send money to their kids or to a family member as a gift, or to, if they have someone dog sitting, they might pay their dog sitter that way. They might pay their babysitter that way. And there are some people that I've come across that use them, that have a small company and they're selling a product and it's just convenient for them. They might be, before they ship the product, because they're not actually meeting the person in person, they're shipping it to somebody, that they just have those QR codes or links where somebody can go on and pay them via PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. So if you have those, we understand that it works for some people, but please have all of the privacy and security settings that is allowed on those apps. Have that all set up, have multi-factor authentication set up, and make sure you know who you are sending the money to or who you are receiving the money from, because your information is then also in that person's Venmo or Zelle or PayPal. And if that person's um, platform gets, the Venmo, PayPal, or Zelle gets compromised, well, then they might have some of your information, and then they might be targeting you to try to get you to send money through those means as well. So urgency we have here in the center button here. The majority of the scams are urgent, right? It could really only take a couple hours between initiating contact, going through creating the compelling reason to act, and then you sending money to the scammer. There are some scams which the contact comes and they this creating a compelling reason to act is really more of a grooming. They go through a grooming process, which would kind of be in between initiating contact and creating a compelling reason to act, like a romance scam. They don't come out of the gate on a romance scam asking for money. They're going through a grooming process, per se, to get you into their absolute trust. So you are only talking to them. You only believe what they say. Everything's private. It doesn't matter who's telling you that, this person, while they might be a real person, because it might, sometimes it can be artificial intelligence as well. But, even though it's a real person, they don't have your best interest at heart. This is not a love interest. They're just trying to scam you. The deeper you get into this absolute trust, the harder it is to break that absolute trust. And so then once the scammer feels that they've got you in that absolute trust, they go right into the having that compelling reason to get you to send money. And then it's always urgent. The urgency is, needing the money is always urgent. They need it right away. And then they always have multiple reasons and excuses as to why they need more money and more money and more money. So, but then I wanted to show you some examples of some different scams that people have sent us that you can we're going to walk through. Well, where's the contact? What's the compelling reason to act? And then, how do they, want you to send money? So I'm going to pull up one of our advisory board members, Dr. Martina Dove. She's been on the show before, a psychologist that is an expert in these frauds and scams and the psychology behind them. She had received this one. I think a lot of us have received these from this is a Washington Department of Motor Vehicles, but a lot of people receive them from Arizona or Nevada or California, really, from whatever state they live in, or if it's a toll fee, toll road fee, it could be from a different state, things like that. But this is one that she recently received. And so the contact, she didn't take a screenshot of the text, but this is the text that she received. And, final notice. So that gets kind of scary. And this is a Washington Department of Motor Vehicles, a government agency. So an authority agency, right? Because we work with the motor vehicle department when we have a vehicle to get our driver's license, a lot of different things. Well, there's an enforcement penalties begin on June 25th. And so they want you to pay by June 24th. So there's that urgency to make this payment before penalties begin. And you have an outstanding traffic ticket. And so they actually then put some administrative code in there. I have no clue if this is an actual code reference or if they're just making up these code numbers. Um, but if you don't complete payment by June 24th, we're going to take the following actions. So you're going to go into a violation database. They're going to suspend your vehicle registration, suspend your driving privileges, transfer to a toll booth and charge 35% service fee. And you may be prosecuted and your credit score will be affected. So there's a lot of things in here that can scare people. You may be prosecuted. Nobody wants to be prosecuted, and so that's something that could instill fear in you. Suspend driving privileges for 30 days. Um, a lot of us drive on a daily basis, multiple times during the day, and that's part of our independence. And we don't want to have that taken away from us. Vehicle registration, even if they don't suspend driving privileges, if they suspend your vehicle registration and you're out driving, that's against the law. So again, this is all fear-based in here. Violations, fear-based. In here, pay now. And then there was a link. And then here it is, please pay immediately. So there's that urgency before enforcement to avoid license suspension and further legal disputes. And so on this one in particular, sometimes you might actually get the link that you can click on. Other times, we've seen this a lot recently, reply with a Y for yes, and then reopen the message to click the link or copy it into your browser. So that's just a way they've changed it up. Instead of actually putting the link there, they want you to reply with a Y for a yes. So this is one that's been going around, and I think a lot of people are getting it in a lot of different states. But so the contact was text message, or it could have been an email as well. They can come in emails, text messages. And then the compelling reason to act, that emotional state, is they're getting you in that state of fear. And they're coming from an authority position, right? They have this administrative code, the Department of Motor Vehicles. You must complete payment by a certain date. Or there's all these fear-based tactics down here of things they could do if you don't pay by this date. And then here's the urgency. Please pay immediately. They want you to click on the link, and she obviously did not click on the link, but I'm sure when you go in there, it's going to want you to transfer the money. It's going to want you to use a Venmo, PayPal, something like that. Maybe even have, um, send cash here, who knows, but ways that they can get money immediately. So that's one example. Let me pull up a few more here. So here's a Medicare kit scam that was going around. This is a screenshot of what someone had sent us. You can see this picture of this kit here, and it has CVS that it's coming from. CVS is a reputable company, and they are a big pharmacy. They are a big store, national. They have locations in multiple areas in all different states. And so it's a big, well-known company that a lot of people are already going to have accounts with, whether you have purchased something there and you've signed up for their rewards. And so they have your email address with the rewards, or you use them for your pharmacy and they have your contact information through the pharmacy. But here's one where you've been randomly selected to get one of these Medicare kits. And based on the picture, this kit looks awesome. It looks like it probably cost a lot of money with the different things that are in there. But only 4 people were chosen for this special giveaway. So it's like, oh, wow, you're excited. You're one of 4 people that are going to get this. And they want to express their gratitude for your continued support. So for people that get this and they are actually a customer of CVS, this is all the more believable to them because they are a customer. And especially if they are on Medicare, and CVS is going to know that they're on Medicare if they're a customer of the pharmacy, because they're going to have their Medicare information. So again, all the more believable. And large companies do sometimes, it's at their discretion, but sometimes they might send you a little gift just as a thank you, right? So getting little gifts from companies, might not, be out of the ordinary. Um, I don't know if CVS sends gifts to their customers or not, but they want you to click on this link, confirm your gift. So, right. So here they've sent you this email or text message, um, and they get you excited that you're going to win this prize, that you're like, I could really use this. You're excited. And that's the greed emotion. I'm not real thrilled with the word greed, but it's all bit, that you're excited that you're going to get this prize for free. It's going to have all this great stuff in it that I can use, that I don't have to go out and buy, so I can save some money. And they actually give you a list of winners. Now we've blacked out the email addresses here, but look here, these are all Yahoo accounts. So, they've sent it to you, and this is going to could have your address. It's going to have your email address right here, that says not confirmed. And you're going to see, oh my gosh, these other 3 email addresses, those people have confirmed, and they're only giving 4 of them out. So if I don't do this right away, someone else might get my prize. And it down here in red, a big important: winners who have not yet confirmed their email must do so within 8 hours in order to not lose their gift. So here's that urgency down here. So again, acting out of emotions, you're excited. This is a kit that you want. It's got things in there that you need. It's going to save you money. You don't have to go out and buy it. You might be more apt to confirm your gift here on this link right here. So, and then that's going to take you to a malicious site. I'm guessing it's probably going to ask for credit card information, because you're going to have to pay a small fee in order, maybe a shipping charge, in order to get it sent to you. And then your credit card is going to be compromised. And it very well could, because it's a Medicare kit, it might ask you for your Medicare information. It could ask you for other personal sensitive information that sometimes, if you're still, you're in that emotional state, you're not thinking rationally, like, why do they need that? Why do they need my Medicare information? If this is CVS and it's the pharmacy, they have my information. Why do they need that from me? Again, you might not be thinking those things, like you normally would if you're in your rational state. So there's an example there. Here's the job text. These ones have been going around like crazy lately. I am getting these probably 3 to 4 a week. Sometimes they show the name of a company, other times they don't. Um, but this one in particular, you first look up here at this email address. This isn't even coming from a company's, website. So like, I have Rose Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly owns the domain roseadvocacy.org. Well, that's where our email addresses are. It's Joyce Petrowski at roseadvocacy.org, or Brian Watson, who's been a guest host on here before. Brian Watson at roseadvocacy.org. I have one that says grants for the grant writer at roseadvocacy.org. Things like that. So this is iCloud.com. So why would a company that would, first of all, why are they sending text messages to want to hire you? Right? Why are they not reaching out in other means? Like, hey, maybe a phone call, or they're putting information out through companies that help them find employees. So here, position. And there's a lot of people these days, and there have been over the past year that these have been coming out, that have been looking for work, whether they've been laid off or let go, or had to leave a job, company closed down, whatever, that are looking for work. And so they get this and they get excited, data marketing. Okay. 100% remote work. Short-term training courses are provided to help you get started quickly and understand customer needs. Remote work can work from anywhere. Work from home, You can travel and work from wherever you're at. It says work from anywhere. So basic salary, $800 per week, $60 to $180 per hour. $60 per hour, if you figure that out, $800 per week, you're only working like maybe 12 to 14 hours a week. That is really part-time. If you're making $180 per hour, you might be working 4 hours per week. Um, and for working 4 to maybe 14 hours a week, they're going to give you benefits. So they want you to be age 25 and above, but they're going to give you health insurance, 401k, paid vacation, and other benefits for working 4 to 14 hours a week. That is just too, remember that old adage? If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. This is right here is too good to be true. We currently have 28 vacancies. So they have a lot of openings. So maybe vacancies, you don't know if they're all in one marketing department, or are they in these other departments? You don't know. And they look forward to working with you to create the future. So send a text message here to this number. And I don't know what area code 206 is, but you can look it up if you're interested in looking it up. So there's a lot of information here that gets you into an emotional state, especially if you are someone who is looking for a job that doesn't currently have one, and you are going to get excited that you're going to make all this money for only working 4 hours to 14 hours, that you're not thinking rationally. Well, this doesn't make sense. How am I going to get health insurance, 401k, paid vacation, and other benefits if I'm only working 4 hours a week, if I'm only working 14 hours a week? That just sounds too good to be true, right? They're going to pay you for vacation, but yet you're only working 4 to 14 hours a week. It seems like every week you're getting vacation. So there's just a lot of, red flags in here. But again, if you're in that emotional state where you're all excited that, oh my gosh, this is the perfect job. I don't have to worry about commuting someplace. I don't, I can work from home. I can, have more time in my schedule because I don't have the commute, just a bunch of different things. You're excited. You're not really thinking through exactly what they're saying in here. And you're going to be apt to send a text message here to get more information, but then you're engaging with the scammer. And again, the person that sent this to us, they did not respond to the text. We're not responding to the text, but they're most likely on these job scams. They give you some reason. And if you're still in that emotional state, it's a believable reason to have to pay money over in order to get a bunch of things that you need for your job, or the promise that you're going to get reimbursed if you go out and buy this stuff, or they're going to send you a check to cover the cost, but they send you extra money, and then they want you to send the difference back. And come to find out, a couple days later, you find out you never had the money to begin with. There's just a lot of different things that they can do here. So the best things to do here, it's a fake email address. It doesn't even have a company's name here. Just down here, report junk, and then delete it. And if you're looking for a job, you can there's a lot of different online searches. I think Indeed is one, ZipRecruiter's another. They have a bunch of different online companies where you can upload and your resume and all of that stuff, and put the details in as to what type of job you're looking for, and it matches you up with these companies. So just use online reputable or other in-person reputable sources when you're trying to find a job. Let's see. The last one I have here is some sample phishing text. This is the toll fees. I think just about everybody has received these. Just know if you get one that says you owe a toll in Arizona, it's automatically a scam. There are no toll roads in the state of Arizona. I don't know about other states, but you could always just do a quick Google search and find out if whatever particular state has toll roads. And then you could always find the toll road authority and contact them directly for that state to find out if you have an actual open toll. because you maybe have visited that state recently and don't remember if you actually were on a toll road or not. But they send this first one out here, fast track lane toll on November 24th. Again, avoid penalties to ensure you get your driver's license. So they're here trying to scare you that if you don't pay this, you're not going to be able to renew your driver's license, or that your driver's license might be suspended. Here they have the link you can pay. Again, they say reply Y for yes, and then get back into the text message to activate the link, or you can copy it into, this specifically says, a Safari browser, and open it. And then they come over here, and it's now December 7th. You get another one, excessive late fees, potential legal action. So they've stepped up their game to scare you even more. You look here, and now, yes, thetollroads.com. Over here, it was the tollroads.blog/pay. And now it has this bunch of numbers and letters here. And it has a slash mark and then US. I think that's kind of to lead you that this might be a government authority, but those are .gov if they're a government. Same thing here, reply Y, and then the same exact message comes over down here, but they've changed the date. They're giving you another chance. But again, to potential legal action, this is where they're upping their game to scare you. And, a lot of us older adults, we pay our bills on time, and we take pride that we don't leave, we don't have all these late fees, and that these companies, we're not constantly paying our bills late. We take pride in paying our bills on time. And so older adults might have more of a tendency to get into this emotional state because they don't want to not pay their bills. And without thinking, they just might click on the link and pay it. Again, your credit card is going to be compromised, and then they very well could ask for some personal information that you might not be thinking of. Well, why do they need this? This doesn't make any sense. So again, this was a text message. They're trying to scare you. And then, immediately, you need to pay immediately to avoid further action. And then these last two, especially legal action. So again, it's a way to scare. Here's the anatomy of a scam again. This is something that we give out in our presentations that we give, and we go over it. And we actually do relate this to a few different scams, like a grandparent scam, a romance scam. We might do some investment scams. So we do in our presentations talk about specific scams. And then, people have questions about specific, like maybe phone calls or text messages, things like that. So I'm going to stop sharing. So just know that the contact can come in a wide variety of ways. If you are connected online, that just opens up the doors on how many ways that you can be contacted. And just always take a pause before you act on anything. Just take a pause. You get the email, the text message, even a phone call, right? Don't be afraid, as Brian said in I think it was last week's show. Don't be afraid to hang up. If you know it's a scammer, don't be afraid to hang up. If you're not sure who it is and you think it might be a scammer, don't be afraid to hang up. Just hang up. And then, the toll roads, right? They're going to send you a notice in the mail, and then you can look at it and do your research on if it's actually a valid notice that you were on that toll road on that specific day. But that's your way to do your research and verify that it is actually legitimate. So anyways, the anatomy of a scam, I believe we have it on the website. I know we used to, but we just changed a lot of the website, and I believe it's on there that people can download under the resources, or maybe the scams tab, where you can download that. But like I said, if you book us to come out and do these presentations, this is something that we do give out during the presentations in our resource packet. We have a 20-page resource packet where we talk about a lot of different ways that you can protect yourself One of the great things is that, this is not a one size fits all resource packet where we say you have to do every single thing that's in there. It can't be, because everybody's personal situation is different. So, what might work for one person, all of them might not work for another person, because everybody's personal situation is different. But it gives you options of different things that you can put into place to help protect yourself and then get you more knowledgeable about how scams work. You take that resource pack at home, hang that anatomy of a scam up someplace where you're looking at it on, that it's a reminder, right? And on our email, we do the emailed newsletters monthly, but every Tuesday morning, we do what's called a Tuesday tip. It comes out at 9:15. So I'm just looking at the time now. This week's is going to come out in about 40 minutes. And it's just a quick tip. And the nice thing about it is, even if it's a tip you already knew about, it's a reminder about scams. So you keep your scam prevention top of mind. So the next time you're contacted, you are going to be more apt to have scam in the back of your mind, to where then you're going to take a pause and you're going to say, okay, I don't need to act on this right now. I'm going to come back and look at it later. I'm going to go talk to my trusted person and see what they think about it. So you're not acting right away. You're taking a pause, you're thinking about it, you're talking to someone, and you're going to verify, the situation, and finding out if this is actually legitimate or not. So we all want everybody to be scam aware and have that scam avoidance and have that healthy skepticism. So don't forget to check out our website at roseadvocacy.org for a lot more resources, and sign up for our newsletters down at the bottom of the homepage. You can sign up for the emailed one or the mailed one, or sign up for both. Our social media links are up there: Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and also YouTube. All of these episodes are on our YouTube channel, and the shorts and reels are on there as well. So go ahead and subscribe to that YouTube channel so you'll always get the notifications of when these come out. And don't forget, this is a great sponsorship opportunity to sponsor our radio show program, to keep it going, to keep getting this information out to people. And you could be at the forefront with the other companies in your industry to say, hey, I'm sponsoring this program because I want to help protect the people in my community. I want to make sure this stays out there and more people can have this information, because we are on board with, we don't want anybody to fall victim to scams. And so this education is crucial. One, the education on knowing to recognize a scam, and then knowing how to protect yourself and avoid falling victim. So thank you. And next week, for the next few weeks, you are going to see Brian Watson. He's got some great topics coming up that he's going to discuss with you. So put it on your calendar, and don't forget to tune in next Tuesday morning. Thank you.
Well, that's all the knowledge for this episode. Tune in every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio at k4hd.com as Joyce explores a variety of knowledge so you have the power to make scam protection your healthy habit. And until then, feel free to reach out to Joyce and let's talk about scams.